question. The gentleman felt he had no question. With that, we go to the gentleman from Florida for 5 minutes. Thank you, Mr.
Chairman.
Ross.
Thank you. Mr. Nordstrom, earlier in your testimony, you were discussing your recollection of the conversation that you had had with two agents in the room regarding the denial of the extension of the SST. Now, and it was your understanding that you were not to request an extension at that point. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And who was on the other end of the line that told you that?
I was on the telephone call with Das Lamb.
Okay. Was Miss Lamb on the phone call with you? That is
Das Lamb. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she did tell you that.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, she just the other day in an interview with the committee indicated that on your July 9th cable to Washington requesting security personnel, you didn't formally request an SST extension. In fact, you just made a recommendation. Can you explain if there's a difference between recommendation or request?
I in post felt that was a pretty clear request for resources.
Had you done it before with the idea that it was a request?
I believe it was also titled Request for Continued TDY Staffing.
And it was a denial of that extension?
Well, actually, we never actually received a response.
Other than that phone conference? Other than that phone conference that you were on?
Correct.
Okay.
We never received a response to the
And as a result of that phone conference where you were denied, did you seek any further effort to follow up or make a re-request?
I believe actually to clarify, the telephone call was prior to sending in the cable. What we decided, since we continued to get resistance, instead of specifically asking for SST or MSD or whatever, we just said, you know what, give us the 13 bodies, wherever you come from, and that's the way in which we crafted the cable.
Now, Mrs. Lamb, you testified in an interview with this committee that you trusted your RSOs in the field, such as Mr. Nordstrom. Now, how do you square that statement with you telling Mr. Nordstrom that you would not support an extension of the SST?
The cable that he sent in indicated that any of the categories...
But before the cable was the phone conversation.
That's correct.
And you wouldn't support his request or his recommendation at that time?
Because we had Department of State diplomatic security assets that could do the same functions of the remaining...
And that was explained to him as well?
Yes, sir.
Now, Lieutenant Colonel Wood, I understand that you were the senior officer of the SST team. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
And do you have any reason to believe that if you had to go up your chain of command at AFRICOM for a request from the State Department that they extend the tour of duty of an SST, that your chain of command would not grant that?
Absolutely. General Ham was fully supportive of extending the SST as long as they felt they needed them.
So the resources were available for the SST? Absolutely. And had they been there, they would have made a difference, would they not?
They made a difference every day they were there when I was there, sir. They were a deterrent effect.
Thank you. Now, Ambassador Kennedy, just real quickly, and everybody's been beating this, and I understand it, but I just want to reconcile it in my own mind. Here we've got the official statement of the State Department that this protest, this attack, was all as a result of a video that was controversial, but yet the next day the president of Libya comes out and says, well, it was not as a result of a controversial video. In fact, he had no doubt that it was an act of terrorism. And so I guess my question is that the Libyan intelligence so superior to the American intelligence that they knew within 24 hours that it was a terrorist attack, and within 6 days we're still saying that it was a result of a video?
Mr. Ross, I'm going to take a liberty here, and I'm going to correct one point, if I might. You asked the Colonel, would his team have made a difference?
No, sir, you're in my time right here, so I have to control this.
His team was not...
The gentleman from Florida controls the time for the questions he wishes to ask.
Very good, sir.
So the intelligence between the Libyans and the Americans just wasn't the same. Apparently they were more superior. Now, if they were more superior in their intelligence, and you testified just earlier that you were still gathering information, that's why you didn't say it was officially a terrorist attack, then why in the world did you say it was anything at all when you put Jay Carney out there and Ambassador Rice to say that this is a result of an inflammatory reaction to a controversial film? Sir, it begs the question, what happened? Was it as a result of political pressure trumping professional protocol? Was it not?
Mr. Ross, I have been a career Foreign Service officer for 39 years. I have served every president since Richard Nixon.
And
I have
grateful for your
directly
service.
served 6 secretaries of state, Democratic and Republican. On my honor, none political pressure was applied to me in this case by anyone in the State Department, at the National Security Council, or at the White House.
Then it was a professional protocol malpractice. I yield back.